celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
On today's show, I think David Clark, is that like Dave Clark 5? Or no, who's David? Is he a musician?
Did you want me to step in here, or is it, because, he's a character, a fictitious character on that revenge show.
He's going to be on today? This is very cool.
Yeah, he's a figment of our imagination. He's fictitious.
It's not true. This is a different David Clark that's going to be on the show. He's invented a little thing that when you're away from the house, you can talk to your cat or your dog and even treat them from work or wherever you are, as long as you have your little smartphone with you.
Where's my coffee? Gosh dang it.
I
got no coffee. Where's my coffee?
You know what? Go get some coffee.
I'll be back in a second or less.
There you go. You don't want to mess with Alan without his coffee. Also on the show today, we're going to talk to that Dr. Jennifer Bolser. She was supposed to be on a couple of weeks ago. She's going to be talking about dementia in our animals.
Ooh.
Can they get dementia?
Wow. That's sad. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
You actually confirmed that they can. So you kind of let the cat out of the bag.
I'm sorry.
But that's okay.
Maybe you won't remember it.
I probably won't anyway. You want to take a call?
Yes, I would love to talk to the people.
You can also ask your questions from the Animal Radio app for iPhone or Android. Either way, we'll give you an answer. Our dream team will, at least. We'll make it up if we don't have it. Dog trainer Alan Cable, Dr. Debbie, and dog father Joey Villani, and Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Where are you calling from?
Long Beach, California.
What's going on with your animals?
Well, I have a dog. She's 14. She's a mixture, custom blend, Jack Russell and terriers and what have you. And she's always liked people, but she doesn't like dogs, except for boy dogs. That's fine. That's all well and good. But the bottom line is that we had another girl dog in last night, and she attacked it. And I told her no, and I pulled her away, and I put her on a leash, and I had the other dog on a leash, and so they couldn't get at each other. Well, then somebody let her loose, and then she went at the dog again. What can I do to break that up?
What can you do to break it up, or what can you do to change?
For her to get along with other animals, what can I do to teach her? Is it too late?
Do you really want to teach her? At this age, do you really want to do that, Kath?
Well, yeah, because I'm bothered by that because I'm a friend of I have his friend over, and she doesn't like leaving her dog at home, and so I wanted to see if I can get that rectified.
So have you had her since she was a little baby, a little puppy?
Yes. 6
and
weeks.
When she was a little puppy, did you bring her around lots of other dogs a lot of times?
Well, you know what? I took her to the dog park, and all these dogs go rushing at her, and she didn't like that, and I didn't either.
I see what you're saying.
They came at her to pack. And
I see what you're saying.
I was very angry of the owners that wouldn't pull their dogs off because she just was a baby. She was about three months
both
old.
of you. So let's get this straight, Kath. Let's me and you put it together. Let's do the math. Both of you had very bad experiences when she was a little puppy. You had bad experiences with other dogs. Mm-hmm. And what does that do when an owner has a bad experience with another dog and a dog has a bad experience with another dog? Well, it definitely affects the way dogs behave and the way owners behave. You will not bring your dog around other dogs because you'll avoid it because it's unpleasant for you. And your dog, if the first couple of encounters with other dogs is negative, then your dog will learn not to like other dogs. Oh. So if you want to change that behavior, what you have to do is you have to sit down at your desk with your thinking pen and think to yourself, who do I know that has a really cool, mellow dog? Who do I know that have dogs that are just laid back? They just sit there. They're not interested in conflict of any kind. They get along with other dogs. They get along with other people. They are just mellowed out, cool dogs. And when you find that answer, if you can't find that answer, then you go to the dog park and you seek out dogs like that. And those are the dogs that you slowly, one at a time, start bringing your dog around. And the important thing is you do it slowly. You don't just shove your dog in there. And the important thing is it has to be neutral ground. When you bring a dog, and your dog doesn't like dogs already, into your dog's home turf, into your dog's area, it's very stressful for your dog because your dog is attacking because your dog thinks this dog's going to attack me, so I'm going to attack first. So that's what goes on in their little dog brain. So you have to start bringing your dog slowly, one at a time. And I'll give you a good suggestion is either very old dogs that are just mellowed out, or even tiny little puppies that, maybe they're a month old or less, that they're just puppies, and they're not big enough to disturb your dog. They're just basically just started walking around, or just dogs that are just really cool, sweet, and laid back. Find one of those and start hanging out with that dog. Start bringing your dog around that dog. And just remember, it's a slow process. Your dog is going to react the same way it did last night with the dog that's mellow, but you just got to sit there, be calm, cool, collected, and you do it over and over and over. And you yourself, Kathy, have to think about how you're acting. You just have to be relaxed and think to yourself, nothing's going to happen. Everything's going to be fine. And, you change the bad experience to a good experience. And the more good experiences your doggy has with other dogs, the less that negative memory will take hold. It'll kind of dissipate. But you have to be very, very careful about what kinds of dogs you bring your little dog around. And it's going to take time, Kathy. Everything takes time.
So she can't just go to the dog park, can she?
No, that would be overwhelming.
Okay.
Basically, if they have a dog park, but then they have a little dog park within the dog park, sometimes they have that, where they have like a little area. You bring your dog in the little area, and you just let your dog observe and bark and go nutty because he's behind a fence all protected. When you see somebody with a really cool, mellowed out dog go by because that dog's not paying any attention to your dog, doesn't care, could care less, invite them in. Say, hey, I want to socialize my dog. I didn't do it when my dog was little. Could you bring your dog in here? Could they hang out just a little bit? And just Kathy, just stand there and don't say anything. Just let it happen. Because if it's a mellowed out dog without any aggressiveness, then you just got to sit back and go, okay, girl, you got to handle this yourself. You gotta meet this dog. You got to hang with this dog, and 10, 15 minutes they'll be getting along. It's just the humans get so nervous and crazy, and that energy funnels down to your dog. Your dog thinks there's something to be afraid of. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I found myself avoiding, like when we go for walks, I'll go way around and not let her go by the dog. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that tells your dog, whoa, there's something to be scared of here.
Yeah,
there's something to be afraid of.
Her dog's picking up on her.
Yeah, her dog is picking up on her energy. And this is why it's so important to socialize your dog when they're young and pay close attention to the dogs you're bringing your dog around. Just because you're at a dog park doesn't mean that all the dogs are really friendly, nice dogs. You got to observe their body language. And if you see a dog that's acting aggressively or is invading other dogs' space because, they're just too playful or too wound up or too excited, and you have a tiny dog that could get scared easily, control the situation and only bring your dog around calm, mellow dogs, and stand in front of the ones that are insane, and don't let those dogs approach your dog. Protect your dog.
Judy's just learning this with Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, who's...
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, when an owner is stressed, like I always say, the worst possible obstacle and barricade that exists is not the dogs, it's the human brain and emotions. The human emotions prevent dogs from being dogs, and they prevent dogs from sorting things out.
Well, don't they usually raise their hackles too when they're aggressive? Or do they
look at their body language? Look at the body language. The hair stands up on the neck, right?
Yep.
The teeth come out. The ears go up and back halfway. The tail is either down between the legs, indicating fear, or it's up really high, indicating pride. And they're ready. I mean, they're ready to go at it. I mean, and you got to get it. You got to get in there and stop it real quick. People who have dogs that are not socialized know that their dogs get like that.
Judy's dog, Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, she'll get the hackles up and she'll show her teeth. Ears will go down.
Yep.
Tail
Ladybug
between
has
the legs.
A lot of fear. She's very fearful. But Ladybug is a very anxious, fearful
not showing
doggy.
Aggression. She's showing fear.
Well, it is aggression. It is aggression. See, fear turns to aggression. First, the dog gets afraid, and then they use aggression to compensate. That's how dogs always react in the doggy world. They use aggression because that's what they know. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to fight. It might mean I'm going to chase you, or it might mean I'm a little afraid of what you're going to do. What are you going to do? But a well-socialized dog, you see how when they meet, they walk by each other, they sniff each other's butts, and then they may tangle. They may be like, okay, I'm going to play now. And a lot of owners misinterpret play for aggression, and they freak out. and it teaches their dog, well, there's something to be freaked out about.
Kathy, well, I hope that works out in socializing your dog there, but at least know that you're not the only one.
Well, I really appreciate that, and I'll really work on it because it is stressful to me, especially.
That's the one thing before you go, Kathy. You've got to learn before you do this to have no stress. You got to think of your dog as a mirror. Whatever you project, whatever emotions or fears you have, goes right into the dog. If you're confident and calm, then your dog will be much better at meeting other dogs. But if you're all tense and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Wondering if your dog or cat is stressed out? A Japanese company has developed a patch that purports to measure the stress levels of dogs and cats by detecting excessive sweat secretion. The patch is applied to the center pad of the animal's paw and changes color depending on how sweaty the pet is. The company, which makes a similar patch for humans, says it worked with researchers at Toyama University to study the sweat patterns of dogs and cats, which secrete sweat from their paws. Is it just me, or does this sound a lot like a mood ring? I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. Paul on Incredible Radio. Is that what it is?
Animal Radio.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, this is Dr. Paul on Animal Radio. Take care of the pets and make sure that in these hot days that they get in lots of water and don't tie them outside in the sun because then they get a heat stroke.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
This is
Animal Radio, baby. You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
And we head to Larry. Hey, Larry, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Where are you calling from today?
Oh, right now I'm in North Platte, Nebraska. I'm a truck driver.
Okay, and drive very carefully there. I have Dr. Debbie here. What's going on?
Hi, Dr. Debbie. I've been fighting yeast infection in my Chocolate Labs ears for a year.
Okay.
And I've been using this solution that's supposed to clean and dry them, and then Otamax drops.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
I took her to our own vet back home in Minnesota on Thursday, and he looked at it under a microscope and determined that yes, that's indeed what it was, and then he gave her a shot that was, I think, cortisone.
Okay.
And I have ointment that I put in her ears twice a day. I'm driving right now, so I can't get to the pills to see what all. But one pill was 1.5 tablets once a day for 20 days. And he said You don't want to miss any days with this because it heals the skin layer by layer from the inside out, and it takes 20 days to do it. And
Okay.
the other pill, I think it maybe was a follow-up to the cortisone or something. It was one pill every day for 7 days and then one every other day for 14 days.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sounds like probably an antibiotic was the first one because it takes about 3 weeks for cell turnover. And then the second one sounds like a steroid of some sort because you had a tapering schedule there.
Okay. Now, here's my question. He mentioned that by the time I go through this with all the medications and stuff, like 4 times, I could pay for the surgery. What surgery is that? And he explained he actually took his finger and run it down Candy's cheekbone, and he says we would actually cut away that ear canal or slice that ear canal down to where it, about 2 inches or so, down to where it makes it turn in.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Stitch it up so it stays open and it can drain. And I know, in humans, doctors put tubes in your ears sometimes for people that have problems with water in their ears and they can drain. And I wondered if you had heard of that because I talked to some other people that are pretty big time into dogs, and they hadn't heard of that surgery before.
Yeah, and from what it sounds like, he's recommended a surgery called a lateral ear canal resection. And basically, the place that this procedure can have for dogs with ear problems are particularly those that we have trouble getting down to the deep part of the ear canal. And dogs' ear canals are very different shape than ours. With people, you could take a Q-tip and accidentally shove it too far and pop your eardrum. With dogs, that is impossible with normal routine means because there's a part of the eardrum that goes down vertically, and then it turns and goes horizontally inside the base of the head. So it's really kind of like an L, if you will. And if there's infection at that deep part where the L is horizontal, it's really hard to get that cleaned out effectively. So the ear resection surgery removes that outside wall of cartilage and basically allows you to get the medicine down at the source. So he's right. That can be a very helpful thing. And I actually, the last dog I had done that surgery on was a standard poodle, not a dog you think of a whole lot with some of these, ear infections. And it really made a huge difference in the home care and really for the people tackling that. Now, there are some other things that, as far as with recurrent ear infections, for me, a lot of it is really getting to some of the core reasons why we get ear infections in dogs or Labradors in particular. So things like thyroid problems. Low thyroid problems in dogs can cause a propensity for ear infections. So if your vet thinks that might be something worthwhile checking out, it's a great thing if we can treat it.
About that.
Yeah. And then other things so common in retrievers, as well as other dogs, are allergies, seasonal allergies and food allergies. So some dogs with those types of conditions will just blow with ear infections on again and off again all the time. So it's a little bit more costly to do some of the testing for some of the allergy conditions, but there are some simple things like diet change, going to hypoallergenic diets, or using some medicines that are geared towards symptoms of allergy, like cyclosporine, which is actually my preference rather than steroids on a long-term basis. If we can, avoid steroids, I prefer that. So those are some more like long-term strategies you can look at. And, so I wouldn't poo-poo that idea of the surgery. It's just, for me, I would want to make sure it's something that, is appropriate for your pet. And the other big problem I see with a lot of dogs with recurrent ear infections is we just don't get to the heart of the infection and clean the ear out. And, if we're considering that plumbing builds in dogs' ears, it's hard to clean at home. So ear flushes under general anesthesia can be very helpful to get that plumbing clean, get the garbage out, and then it helps you to be more effective in your home care. So that might be something as well if that's, appropriate for him.
And see, he did explain that to me, too. He said, I probably wasn't going nearly deep enough, but I'd go like an inch and she'd yelp, it was hurting her. So he didn't try to pursue it either by going any further. He said, we got to get that healed up. But he was afraid maybe that my attempts at cleaning, I was just pushing it down inside worse, So I hope we get on top of it. But that was the main thing I wanted to know if you had heard about that surgery. And I will, I wrote down thyroid problem. I will ask about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the lateral ear canal surgery, the dog of the breed that we tend to do this the most in tends to be Cocker Spaniels, because for a lot of reasons they tend to have a lot of ear infections. So if that procedure is done early on, before there's a lot of chronic scarring in those ears, some of these pets can manage them much easier at home. And they just look a little different. It's fine. The ear flap covers it, so it's not anything that, would change aesthetics or anything. So, well, thank you for your call, Larry.
Well,
good luck with that.
Help. I've talked to you before about a couple years ago about her. I can't remember what the issue was. You're always a lot of help, and I sure do enjoy your program on the radio.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
This is an Animal Radio News Update. I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. A New York woman is potentially facing jail time after she refused a plea deal for stealing a cat. According to the New York Post, Nancy Glassman admitted to taking a cat named Cosmo from a bagel shop and then driving it to a local animal shelter. She believed that the resident cat was being abused because there were sores on its ears and it had scruffy-looking fur. So she was later arrested and then charged with burglary. Well, while she doesn't deny taking the cat, she rejected a plea bargain because she doesn't feel that she did anything wrong. The deal would have dismissed the charges and kept her out of jail if she stayed out of trouble for the next 6 months. But instead, she's ready to take the case to trial and is risking up to 7 years in prison if she's found guilty. A parrot in Belarus has almost a shot at becoming one of the country's new regional councillors, according to BBC News. The bird's activist owner successfully registered his pet as a candidate in a local election. The Electoral Commission apparently accepted his photoshopped identity document with a picture of the bird named Yasha and even processed an application to set up an associated campaign group. Yasha's owner says he was trying to showcase the futility of Belarusian politics. So once he felt he accomplished that goal, he immediately withdrew the bird's documents to avoid any possible penalties. Dog treats linked to hundreds of animal deaths and thousands of illnesses are returning to store shelves soon. Be aware of this, despite having no firm evidence of what caused the deaths and sickness. Wagon Train and Milo's Kitchen brand treats, they're going to be sold again. Last year, a nationwide recall was issued. The Food and Drug Administration said all animal owners should avoid jerky pet treats. Well, Nestle Purina Pet Care officials say they're going to reintroduce a line of Wagon Train treats for dogs starting next month, including products that are made from a single supplier in China and new products sourced entirely in the U.S. A dog owner's been reunited with his pets after enlisting the help of pet detectives. 2 brown and white Springer Spaniels, Larson and Nell. They were stolen from a summer house at Gary Notley's home. Mr. Notley, who is 53, got in touch with Wales-based business Stolen and Stray Pet Recovery to help find his pets. Well, after a couple weeks, the detectives had tracked down the dogs. They were still in Essex, and it's believed they may have been stolen for breeding. Stolen and Stray co-founder Stephanie Kent Nye said Gary got in touch quickly, and if people leave it for weeks, the trail can go cold. But they publicized it all across vets and authorities, and then they picked up some intelligence that allowed us to act. The hunt for dogs was shared also through social media, with more than 1,800 Facebook users liking the Find Nell and Larson page. That's really how they got him back, through Facebook. The dogs have been recovered, and police are investigating the circumstances. I think that's all you need. We don't even need a police department anymore. Facebook, that's where it all has to go. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
We'll head back to the phones in just a couple of seconds. Right now we have Dr. Jennifer Bolser on the phone. We actually had you scheduled a couple of weeks back. I think maybe you forgot dementia. You actually had emergency surgery.
She didn't get dementia, Hal.
Yes, I had an emergency surgery that I got involved in, and I'm sorry that I couldn't make it last week.
That's okay. We can appreciate that. Occasionally, Dr. Debbie, you'll get called out for an emergency, and that's what it's all about, is the animals first.
That's right.
My Uncle Milton, a little bit of dementia. He's going through Alzheimer's. It's sad. What really frustrates me is that he doesn't remember me. He doesn't know who I am. Very frustrating. Sure. And then I saw this article that you had authored talking about Alzheimer's disease in animals. And I was like, really? Do they get that?
So what we call it in animals is cognitive dysfunction syndrome, and it's similar to Alzheimer's. I wouldn't say that we would classify it as true Alzheimer's at this stage, but the decline in the brain and the changes that occur in the brain in canine cognitive dysfunction syndrome is similar to what happens with people in Alzheimer's. And so, yes, I mean, there are changes that can occur as animals age in the brain, and it can cause this decrease in sensation and awareness similar to what Alzheimer's patients experience.
So can my dog forget who I am?
You know, in some extreme cases, yes, some dogs can start to lose their relationships with their family or other animal members in their family, and you can see sort of a decreased social interaction that starts to occur in some extreme cases of dogs that are experiencing cognitive dysfunction, and similar with cats as well. So is it that they forget who you are? I don't know that we know that for sure, but it's just they aren't aware and their brain is not processing their social interactions and structures like it was before.
They're living longer than ever, our animals. Is that
correct?
Does that mean that you're seeing more of these cases of CCD that you've ever seen because they are living longer than ever?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the theory, and that's what we're experiencing. And, you know, with good veterinarian care and other therapies to help manage different medical disorders these days, we can have our domesticated pets live a lot longer. And the cognitive dysfunction that occurs is because the brain, it's a slow degenerative process of the brain, and so that occurs with time. So the longer an animal or, you know, even people live, the more degenerative changes can occur in the brain, and that's why we do see this syndrome a lot more.
What about wild animals? Do animals in the wild get dementia as well?
Yeah, so likely they can, like their brain can go through the degenerative process, just like domesticated dogs and cats. But in the wild, as soon as they're going to lose any, you know, cognitive abilities, reasoning, hunting abilities, that sort of thing, they're not going to survive in the wild. So wildlife veterinarians, biologists, et cetera, they're not going to appreciate this disease as much in wildlife because simply these animals just won't survive if their brain is not functioning as well as it should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've talked about CCD here. What about other diseases that humans have, like OCD? For instance, I have to walk into the studio and then walk out, and then walk in and then walk out 3 times before I could do a show.
Yeah, dogs turn around, Hal. Haven't you seen them turn around 3 times? Is that OCD?
Yeah, well, there are some dogs that can have OCD characteristics just like people, yes. And, you know, there are dogs that we manage with similar medications as people do to help with their OCD behaviors. But a lot of that is also, we involve trainers, behaviorists to help with those conditions. But absolutely, most of the OCD, or I would say one of the most common forms and signs that we can see with dogs with OCD can be as simple as excessive licking, especially excessive licking of a paw. And that can be one of the most common subtle signs of an OCD-like behavior that we can see. But yes, other dogs can do the circling or pacing, especially if there's animals that aren't getting enough mental stimuli, such as you'll see with zoo animals, that sort of thing. They'll have the kind of OCD patterns of behavior that we can recognize.
Well, this is very intriguing. We were with Dr. Jennifer Bolser. You're in Boulder.
Correct.
At the Humane Society there.
Correct.
What about antidepressants? Would there be any use for an antidepressant in an animal? Do they get depressed?
Yeah, so we do use antidepressants in animals for behavioral things. And as far as, is it depression? I think that's kind of projecting a human disease form onto an animal that I don't know that we could say it's true depression. But for anxiety issues, we do use antidepressant drugs that are used in people for a lot of anxiety issues in dogs and cats.
Where can we learn more? Is there a website for you guys over there?
Yes, www.boulderhumane.org.
Of course, we'll link to everything you've heard on today's show. Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
Hey, doctor, do you ever see my buddy Alexa Tobiasen around there anymore?
Oh, of course. Yes. She's here today, actually. She's awesome.
Yeah, tell her Alan Cable loves her and misses her.
Alan Cable?
Yep.
I will. That's great. Yes, so I will tell her.
There you go. Alan's former career as a DJ in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, just go ahead and use this radio show.
That's all. Alexa works at the Humane Society. I've known her for years. She's the sweetest person alive.
Wow.
Yes, no, she's fantastic. Yes, she does summer leave with us now, and she's also a dental assistant now, primarily.
Well, maybe you want to talk to her, Alan. Forget the radio show. Why don't you guys just go talk? And we'll
just have a conversation there.
Yeah, just have a conversation.
This multi-million-dollar radio station for this.
You guys.
Doc, we thank you for hanging with us today. We have so much fun with you. There's so much to learn. We're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. It'd be great.
There you go, the good doctor. Her website, boulderhumane.org. And, how did you know that? You impress me sometimes. Because you're kind of a homebody. You don't get out a lot.
What are you doing at the Humane Society in Boulder?
Yes.
I get around people. You know what I'm saying? I get around. What was that doctor's name? Because I got to tell Alexa that I just had her on.
This hour of Animal Radio is brought to you by, go ahead, I want you to say it.
Litter Robot. What do I say funny?
You say robot.
Robot. It's a robot.
That's robot.
A litter robot.
Yeah, it sounds like litter robot.
Litter robot.
The way I say it?
Robot.
Robot. What do I say? Litter robot.
Okay,
I say litter robot.
So let me do
this. This is Animal Radio. My name is Judy.
Wow.
Sorry.
You're very talented.
You have nice gonads.
You don't want to know all my impressions I do of you guys.
Oh, let's hear what you do with Hal. I want to hear that one.
No, I really don't.
Come on.
I'll work on it. I'll work on one.
It's not is it a robot?
Robot. R-O-B-O-T. Litter robot.
Okay, I'll have to change that. Litter robot. That just sounds funny. It's a robot.
Robot. That sounds funny. It is the future, and it is here now. Litter robot.
Little robot.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Take a call for Dr. Debbie. We have Linda on the phone. Hey, Linda. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate all your help that you're going to give me today.
All right. That's optimistic that I'm full of information today.
Oh, well, I've got a 3-year-old female Chihuahua that she's not very sociable. She likes to be completely by herself. I've got 2 issues. One, she's got a strip of her hair missing from the top of her head all the way to her tail. And I was told that was stress, but I don't know if that's true. I need you to clear that one up first.
Okay. So she's just missing the hair?
Yeah, just she weighs less than 2 pounds. She's 3 years old, weighs less than 2 pounds, but she's got a strip from the top of her head all the way down to her tail that's just missing just a couple inches.
Okay. And has she always had this?
Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't call that stress. For me, that is a symptom potentially of a spinal deformity that could have happened, kind of a lack of the ability of the normal spine and the vertebrae in that area to really develop fully. We see that sometimes in some breeds like Weimaraners, and where they can have some kind of problems with a hair coat right along the spine. So
it's very interesting that you say that, because I didn't know that much about Chihuahuas, but when she has to go to the bathroom, she starts very slowly in a circle, and then she starts going so fast you can't even watch her. You're going to get dizzy. And I gave her to somebody that had a sort of a vet background, and said, the person that I gave her to said she's hydrocephalic, water on the brain, and she needs a shunt. And I just want to know if that's true, because all Chihuahuas I know go in circles. She just goes very, very fast.
Yeah, well, a couple things. You mentioned this baby's really small, this kind of weird strip down her back, and circling. Definitely all of those things kind of mean different things, but hydrocephalus, basically, we'll back up, is where the head, inside the brain, the fluids build up within the CSF. And that buildup of fluid can disrupt the brain as well as the nerve function, so we can see some abnormalities. And those might include things like circling, behavior changes. We might have a real stilted or spastic kind of gait. We may see seizures. And a lot of dogs with hydrocephalus have, problems learning. They're not as quick and not as easy to pick up on things like house training.
But
so all of those types of.
Is there anything that I can? Is there anything that I can do to help? She's not in any pain. She doesn't seem like. Is there anything I can help with this condition?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot that can be done medically. Your friend mentioned, certainly having a shunt, or basically a little pathway that can be put in. By far, I'd say that's for pets that are having a lot of the severe symptoms of hydrocephalus. That is the best thing that we can do to really alleviate the pressure, give that a place to drain. And basically what they do is they put a little tube, a little shunt into the brain, and it tunnels under the skin into the abdomen, and it helps drain that fluid. And that helps to relieve the pressure, which relieves the symptoms, and we have a more normal pet. And about 80% of dogs that have this type of surgery, they can benefit greatly from. Now, short of that, if we're trying to control her symptoms, we would be looking at medical management, things that will help to decrease inflammation in the brain, and that would include things like steroids. There are other drugs that we can use to decrease the fluid production in the CSF, in the central nervous system. And those might include diuretics, steroids, and then there's some other medications. So there are some things.
I was worried because she weighs less than 2 pounds, and they didn't even want to spay. I don't know if it's spay or neuter, but they didn't want to do that because she was so small. So I'm worried about any kind of surgery because she is so tiny.
Yeah. And I think with this situation, the fear of surgery versus the benefits of the outcome, you have to weigh that. The reason she is small is because she's stunted, because she has a brain developmental problem. So that's what's kept her small. So, not that she's going to get a lot bigger, but that is a fact of her brain dysfunction right now. And personality-wise, circling-wise, yeah, I could definitely attribute those types of symptoms to a dog that has, especially if we've got the bulging head. And a lot of dogs with hydrocephalus also have the eyes that kind of point down into the outside. That can be very distinctive for a pet with hydrocephalus.
Well, when she's going in circles, she looks completely on the ground, and then when she's doing her business, she just looks up and then she's done, and then she's totally antisocial. She wants to go find some dirty clothes and burrow herself in. But I do have her brother that's probably 5 times her size. So I was wondering about the difference in size, and you cleared that up for me.
And who knows? This baby, I don't know if surgery is the right thing for her or not, but there definitely could be some things that can be done. If surgery is pursued, though, this is something that is only available generally at specialty veterinary practices or vet school. So it is a pretty, because it is, kind of higher level surgery, it's not something your regular veterinarians are going to do. And because these people have special training in this field, I don't think that I particularly be afraid of referring a 2-pound dog to their services and to their care. This is what they do. They have these extensive skills in these arenas. So, if that is a possibility, then, I'd look into it, pursue it. Some things that we do to figure that out, we might do a CT scan, an MRI, or even just sometimes starting with an ultrasound of the brain. If we have a soft spot or an open area in the brain, we can look at that. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your help.
Thanks for your call today.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Would you like to pay lower fees and interest on your credit cards? Of course you would. Are you making more money than you were a year ago? If you're like a lot of us out there, barely living paycheck to paycheck, I doubt it. It just costs more to live today, and you're probably using your credit cards more. To help you, the credit card companies have issued the Credit Card Hardship Program. It's a free program that can help you by reducing their fees. We've set up a special hotline right now, so regardless of what credit card company you work with, we can help you negotiate through the hardship program. To qualify, you must have $10,000 or more in credit card bills, have a source of income or a job, and you're having a tough time paying your bills. Listen, we want to help you, so please make this free phone call right now to learn more.
800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. That's 800-245-1567. Paid for by the Debt Solutions Network.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
I am so happy to say that Alan Cable is not sick anymore. Boy, you really got rid of that, what was it, bronchitis?
Yeah, it's finally going away.
You sound back to, you actually have that sexy voice there.
Oh, thank you, Hal.
So, Alan, were you treating yourself, or did you actually see a doctor?
Treating myself with what? My wife had it, and I got it seemed like I had the same thing, but I didn't go to the doctor.
So you just suffered in silence. Okay.
No, I don't suffer in silence. I make lots of noise.
No, that's right. You're pretty loud.
pretty noisy. This hour, we're going to talk to Dave Clark, not the Dave Clark on, what was it, Revenge on TV? What is that?
Yes.
Is that like a Fox show? Yeah. Must be on Fox.
That is on ABC. It is Knucklehead. On ABC? Where have you been?
I tell you, I just don't turn on the TV. I'd rather surf the internet.
Yes.
Or read a book or something like
Facebook.
that. Yeah, there you go. Stacy, who's always surfing the internet and watching all the TV, what do you got going on?
An Italian man has been arrested, and it's probably going to outrage you when I tell you what he did. And the penalty that he will face just does not seem appropriate for what happened. And if you love cats, this is going to be a tough story to hear. But I think it's important that you know about it. I'll give you all the details coming up on Animal Radio News.
And we go to Bob. Hey, Bob.
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
Bakersfield.
Lovely Bakersfield. How are you doing? You having a good day?
Very good. I'm doing good.
What's going on with your animals?
Well, my dog... about 3 months has been throwing up, and then about a month and a half ago, he quit eating, and I've had him at the vet and had several tests run on him, and I'm really at kind of wit's end right now. He started throwing up blood and some bile, blood clots.
Oh boy!
And,
okay.
I took him to my vet, and she ran a blood test, and which came back negative, and then ran. Trying to think. Did the dye and an X-ray down his stomach.
A barium study?
Yes.
Okay.
And that came back with no results on that. It's negative.
Okay.
And then she ran an ultrasound which came back negative.
Okay.
And then she recommended having the scope down the stomach.
Okay, yeah.
And so I went to another vet that did that, and he did find some lesions. He did a biopsy, and is it dupra or where the
what?
small intestine meets? He found several lesions there, but the autopsy came back inconclusive.
So I'm sorry, I missed some of that. So the biopsy, what was found?
Some lesions, several lesions around the dupra or the dutra or
duodenum.
Yeah, I guess that was it.
Okay, alrighty.
And so we've been. My vet has had him on sucralfate.
Okay.
We tried Nexium. We've had him on famotidine, and nothing seems to work on keeping him from throwing up. And he completely quit eating where I got to feed him by hand. I was feeding him yogurt, the Greek yogurt, plain yogurt, and then I started feeding him the baby formula, powdered formula, the Nutrimagen or whatever. I don't know. And he's still throwing up and not keeping anything down.
Okay.
My vet has consulted with other vets, and we just really haven't come up with anything. She said she could send him to a specialist in Ventura, but I don't know what I spent quite a bit of money, which is if I could help him, it'd be no algae, but
right. Well, and I think, Bob, I have to say that your veterinarian definitely sounds like they've done all the type of initial tests that I would do when we're faced with chronic vomiting. And especially what concerns me with your baby's situation is that we're not only having vomiting, but we're losing our appetite. And those two things together definitely, for me, would tell me that we have an urgency that there's something more major going on, that we have to, decide if we're going to figure that out or we're going to proceed with kind of more symptomatic care. So obviously I haven't, seen the specifics of your pet's tests, the blood work and so forth, but I would tell you that if I have a patient and I've done all those tests and nothing significant is coming up, that I can find an explanation for this vomiting, then I would certainly advocate getting a specialty opinion. So seeing a specialist, I think that would be the best way that we can get to the bottom of things, because it may take doing something a little bit more in detail or maybe even repeating a test, but with having a specialist's eyes on it. So, for example, a scoping can be very helpful, but sometimes it really is quite important on what areas of the intestine that we sample. Or that we don't sample, and in that way, or even an ultrasound. Sometimes analyzing things may be normal at one point, but with time, and it certainly sounds like you've got a lot that you've been doing. Things like an ultrasound, things can change from one day to even a week or the next. So that might be well worth it. Now, for you, I think obviously you said you've already spent a fair amount of money on things, and you need to decide if that's a direction you want to go or not. But it does sound like your veterinarian is tapping into a lot of good different therapies for vomiting. And for me, I certainly, you mentioned some of the antacids. I do like using those. If I had to pick some medicines, if we're just going to try some things to see what happens and to kind of do more of what we call empirical treatment of vomiting, there is a drug called Serenia that I will often use, along with many of those other anti-nausea medicines. Always, with a vomiting case, do a deworming with fenbendazole. Just if the pet can hold it down, it is a good measure. If we've got something weird like stomach worms that don't show up on fecal samples. And then from there, there's, the different diets. If you won't eat anything, we're going to be in a kind of rock and a hard place. But some hypoallergenic diets can be helpful if we're dealing more with inflammatory bowel disease or some of the inflammatory conditions in the gut. But I think for many people, I have pets where if we're thinking this is something more an inflammatory nature, like inflammatory bowel disease, or even, some early kind of cancer we just can't identify, we can go the route of immunosuppressives and diet therapy, but realizing that things like steroids can make some conditions much better, can make some much worse. So that would be kind of my last resort to tap into those medicines, unless you're absolutely certain you're not going to, see a specialist. And then I don't know if you mentioned a medicine called metoclopramide, which is also known as Reglan. It's a motility drug that helps to kind of help the stomach, with the vomiting reflex, help to keep things moving through.
What was the name of that again?
Metoclopramide. But that and Serenia, but really, Bob, I mean, it sounds like, depending on your pet's condition, I think it would be most prudent to see a specialist if you can swing it. If he didn't have a lot of other stuff going on, for many dogs that have chronic vomiting symptoms, I will think of testing for a disease called Addison's disease. And that's a disease of the adrenal glands that can cause vomiting, loss of appetite, lethargy, and we basically check cortisol levels in the body. And so I'm not sure if that's something we would consider for your baby, but it might be something just to ask your veterinarian if we ought to consider doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's 11 years old. He was, we kind of thought he did have worms, so he was treated at the very beginning for worms, and it hasn't gotten any better. It's progressively got worse.
Oh, gosh, Bob. That's tough, Bob, and I know you're in a challenging spot with him, and getting some kind of nutrition down him is going to be important, just so we can keep his strength up and keep those gut and all the intestinal tract, keep that working.
Excuse me, one thing I forgot to tell you, and it's probably very important. I take him back and forth between Bakersfield and Grover Beach, and I have a mat in the back, and it kind of flaps in the wind, and he chews at it, and it has the rubber backing with a fiber on the top. And he was when he was going to the bathroom pooping, it would have all kinds of it looked like hair, but it was that fiber.
Wow, and that's kind of an important key piece of information there. So there could be an obstruction, right, Doctor?
Yeah, absolutely. So that would be definitely a reason to look into that further.
Yeah, and he would have the rubber. It looked like rubber come out that was it originally started out black, but I guess the stomach enzymes or whatever changed the color of it. But he seemed to be clear of it now, but I don't know. He might still have some innocent lodged in the stomach or his intestine. I don't know.
Yep, that's definitely possible. That is so. Yeah, and again, I definitely would urge you, Bob, to get this baby looked at, maybe with a specialist here.
And hopefully it's something that simple. Thanks for your call, Bob. Are we going to head back to the phones? Oh, yes. Who do we have coming up? Oh, Stacy's jumping up and down too. Let's take care of Stacy first. Stace, what do you got?
The best way to find your pet, probably when it's lost, is you put up the signs all around your neighborhood and, a picture of your dog or your cat, and hopefully somebody calls you. But you know what? In Wales, there's a new company, and they're called Pet Detectives, and they actually can help you find your dog. Or your cat. I'll give you all the info coming up on Animal Radio News.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
An Australian woman was recently sentenced to 9 months of community service for smuggling protected fish from Asia in her dress. 45-year-old Sharon Naismith was caught in a Melbourne airport trying to smuggle the fish. Customs officers reportedly heard flipping noises coming from her clothes and conducted a search. In a specially made apron under her dress, they found 15 plastic bags filled with water and fish, one rare Asian arowana that Customs said was worth tens of thousands of dollars, and 14 catfish. Naismith, who had just arrived from Singapore, pleaded guilty to a charge of attempting to import regulated wildlife. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio.
Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Fido Friendly Magazine presents the 16th annual Cross Country Pet Adoption Tour. Get your licks on Route 66. Along with media sponsor Animal Radio and companion sponsor Zymox, the tour travels down America's favorite highway from LA to Chicago, stopping at shelters along the way to support adoption events and to raise money for the shelters. With the help of cat food sponsor Cat It, companion sponsor Tito's Vodka for Dog People, campground sponsor KOA, grooming sponsor Hands On Gloves, and car wrap sponsor Signs to You. Fido Friendly Magazine brings their giant spinning wheel where attendees can donate money to spin and win Fido fabulous prizes, with all proceeds benefiting the shelter of the day. In the first 15 years, the tour has helped to place over 19,000 pets into new forever homes. Log on to FidoFriendly.com to see where the tour stops near you and come out for a safe, fun way to support your local shelter. And who knows, you might just find your new forever friend.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Oh, man.
What's up, Alan?
It's been crazy around here, Dr. Deb. I was telling Hallowishes and Judacious what was going on around here. Yeah, my daughter got lice from her friend, so her friend comes over every night and they pick each other's heads. They do the shampoo. They're both insane. But the funny part is, this girl is such a freak. She's like, when they're in the cafeteria, she's like, you can't eat that. It touched the table. Yet when she's picking the lice out of my daughter's head, she's eating M&Ms at the same time. It's just, what's the word for that? It's just crazy.
Does she eat the lice too? Does she pick it like a monkey?
Her mother did. Her crazy mother did. She got so mad she ate one.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just so gross, though. Like, every kid's had it that we know. But the people who haven't had it are all freaked out, They're like, don't go near them.
I'd be freaked out.
Well, they can't hurt you. But I did. I shaved all my hair off.
When I saw Alan come into the studio this morning, I thought that he was joining the reserve or something. Didn't know what that was about.
Well, I know I don't have them because my daughters won't touch me, but, just in case.
Well, if you weren't so annoying or mean, is that what it's all about?
That's what she calls me. You're so annoying. That's what she says.
You're just probably not at that cool phase at this point.
Oh, no, I'm long past that. My little boy still thinks I'm... Oh, yesterday we had 5 little boys over the house dirt biking. It was cool.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm sorry.
Dirt biking's cool, Dr. Deb. I think you'd like it.
Hey, I used to dirt bike when I was a kid. Here's a little something you didn't know about me. Yeah, my dad.
I knew that.
Yeah, my dad and brother grew up around motorcycles, and I have great pictures of me riding this little mini bike, and my mom had just done this great perm on my hair, and she was almost in tears because he had to put the helmet on my curly hair.
You need to come over and jump on the 110 and take a ride. We got some great trails here.
It's been a long time. I don't know.
Oh, boy. I can't even imagine you two dirt biking. Hey, Cindy. How you doing, Cindy?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Stillwater, Oklahoma.
You got one of those new Sports Illustrated phones, didn't you, for a subscription, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay. Where are you calling from again?
Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Stillwater, Oklahoma. I drove through there once. Do you live there?
Well, I live outside of town here, yes.
Okay. What's going on with your animal? I have the doc here and the trainer. We're all here for you.
Awesome. Well, he's about a 4 or 5 year old pit bull that that's what I do is I rescue animals, and I've had lots of them spayed and neutered, but this is the first one that I've ever had neutered that he's growing up larger now than he was before I had him neutered.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Just right in the scrotal area?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. And how long ago did he have surgery?
Monday.
Okay. Is it getting bigger, or did it get to a big size? And how big are we talking? I mean, we're talking kiwi fruit, oranges, softballs.
Kiwi fruit, yeah.
Kiwi fruit.
Kiwi, yeah.
Okay.
And I called the vet, and she told me, that it happens sometimes, and to put some DMSO-furucin on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done that and done it, and it's still not going down, and he licks it off just about as soon as I put it on there, so...
Okay. Yeah. And, the first thing is he can't be licking because we need to make sure this boy is in one of those lovely Elizabethan collars because with a scrotal hematoma. So basically when this happens in male dogs, testicles are removed, but either because of a bleeding tendency, small blood vessels that kind of choose to keep on bleeding after surgery, or even some drugs can that are used for pain relief can sometimes alter the ability ability to clot. And when that happens, we can get this very large buildup of blood in the scrotum. And sometimes that can be painful. So for some of these doggies, they do need pain medications. We may decide to put them on antibiotics if the incision decides to open up at all. But it does really require some supervision by the vet. So I'd make sure they put their eyeballs on this. And it's not terribly common. So when I do see this happen, sometimes, the first instinct is to say, oh my God, the vet botched the surgery. Holy cow. And, before I rush to judgment, there are these other factors. And sometimes pit bulls, believe it or not, can be a dog where I do see a tendency for some types of problems. They can have a tendency for some types of infections, some parasitic infections actually, that can alter their blood coagulation, their clotting. So in some areas of the country, if you have ticks, it might be worthwhile having them check for some tick-borne diseases. Most of those can be treated with antibiotics if that's the case. So that's where I just kind of want to get an eyeball on them. And in other cases, it's just, like I said, pain management and a tincture of time. The swellings, as long as they're not getting bigger, it can take 2 weeks, 3 weeks for this to go down. It looks horrible. How's he feeling overall with that?
He acts okay. He seems as if, everything else is okay. He other than, just the way he looks.
Okay.
So he had some bleeding afterwards, and I did have to take him back up there, and they did wrap him up for the night.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's part of it, like you said, yeah.
Yeah, and I've found through the years that, every pet's different, but sometimes I'll encounter a non-steroidal pain reliever that we use for pain relief, and in some patients it may cause them to bleed more, just like my father who's on aspirin and blood thinners, and, he gets poked with something, and, we've got a bleeding mess, and it's kind of like the ER when we go out in public. We're always throwing Band-Aids and styptic powders on them just to try to stop the bleeding. So...
Yeah.
Well, stop poking him.
Anything that I can do for right now just to kind of relieve him until I can get him back to the vet? Anything I can put on him or give him?
Well, the biggest thing is keeping him away from that. So if you can get an Elizabethan collar without going to the vet, you can check your pet stores, feed stores. That might be one thing. But as far as pain relief, you really got to get to the vet, because I would be hesitant to tell you any over-the-counter pain relievers if he's already having a bleeding issue. So I would see your vet for the pain relievers. That's going to be the best way. Some doggies, if he's really anxious or uncomfortable, they can get freaked out by this. So sometimes I'll use tranquilizers too. So, but that too, again, you're going to need to talk to your vet and see them for that.
Okay, I will. Good thing. Thank you so very much for all your help.
Hey, thanks for listening, Cindy. Let us know how that goes.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
Hi, this is Anne-Marie Lucas from Animal Precinct and the ASPCA, and when I'm not out busting bad guys for abusing animals, I am home listening to Animal Radio.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Residents of a small English village say a little lonely abandoned pig has turned into a local attraction because everybody in the village has adopted her. According to the Orange News, the porker, which they named Porrick, I don't like that name, was left behind after her owners moved away. Well, after a few months of letting Porrick wander around the field, the villagers decided to take action. So they built a makeshift shelter and they've been donating food. Trevor Boxall, whose son owns the land that Porrick now calls home, says people come in droves and they drop off vegetables and other goodies and they sit and talk with the pig. He says he'd like to find something a little more permanent for Pork, but she seems to be just fine with the current arrangement. Boxall says he's even left the gate open a few times, just see if she'll wander off. I think he'd like Pork to be a ham sandwich. And anyway, she has no interest in finding a new home because she never wants to leave. And you know why? Because they keep feeding her. The Western Sugar Cooperative is recalling 3,700 tons of animal feed that was distributed by a Lovell sugar beet factory. This is where a woman was killed after she fell in their water system. The 28-year-old woman died January 4th after she fell into the equipment that uses water to carry and wash sugar beets before processing. A spokesman for the Denver-based cooperative, Kent Wimmer, said all of the adulterated animal feed has been accounted for, and they've recalled everything, and no sugar or molasses that's meant for human consumption has been distributed since the accident. They say there is no threat to human or animal health. But to boost consumer confidence, the U.S. Department of Agriculture says they're buying animals that were scheduled for slaughter that did consume the feed. An Italian man is facing jail time, if you have cats, you're not going to like this story, after allegedly adopting some cats for the purpose of eating them. According to the local the 50-year-old man adopted at least 15 cats over several months under the guise of being a cat lover. While his ruse fooled authorities for a bit, they became a little suspicious after he began coming up with excuses to get out of routine welfare checks on the animals. So officials decided to stop by his house unannounced, and they caught him in the act, trying to kill a cat. After being arrested, the man admitted to killing the cats he adopted and eating them, sometimes with friends taking part in the meals. He was taken into custody for maltreatment of animals, and he risks a jail sentence. Ready for this? This is pretty sad. Of at least 3 months. That's it if he's convicted. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hey folks, this is Jackson Galaxy. You're listening to Animal Radio. Please do everyone a favor, spay or neuter your animals today.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
David Clark is the founder of Petzilla, and he's created an item that he's funded on IndieGoGo, which is like Kickstarter. Uh-huh. Have you ever seen these websites, Alan? Kickstarter and IndieGoGo?
I don't think I have.
Do you get the internet or web over at your house?
Do you have that World Wide Web?
Yes.
I get it on my left thigh. That's where it comes in.
This guy has invented a little interactive toy that can be used with your animals. It actually checks up on them while you're out of the house. We welcome to the show David Clark. Hey, David, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me.
Well, now tell me about this. What is it called, first of all?
It's called Petsy Connect.
Petsy Connect.
And what is it?
Petsy Connect is an idea that spawned really from the recognition that man's two favorite things, well, three in some cases, but two of their top favorite things are their dog and their cell phone. And our thought was, why not bring them together? And that led to Petsy Connect, which is a very simple device that you take out of the packaging, about the size of a small
Can't use it in the packaging. You take it out of the packaging. I want to make sure everyone heard that.
Alan
there.
heard
Don't
that
try
first.
to.
So basically, when you hook this up, your dog's head becomes a cell phone. This is genius. Pure genius.
It's amazing what it will do. So basically, you just plug it into any wall outlet. Uh-huh. You download the app on your phone, and it connects to your home Wi-Fi. And then from anywhere at any time, you simply pull up the app, and it allows you to see, speak, take pictures and short videos, and treat your pet from anywhere in the world at any time.
Now, can your pet see you? Does your face come up on this device or anything for this?
No, it does not. We went with keeping the device as simple as possible and keeping it based on the data that's available scientifically. Sure. And dogs, and specifically, are not prone to seeing or recognizing their owner's face on a two-dimensional screen.
No, but they'll be able to hear our voice.
Correct. If you remember the old RCA advertisements, his master's voice, which had the dog next to the record player. There's science behind the fact that a pet will recognize its owner's voice. So we based it on that. And, of course, the Pavlovian surprise, which is the treat, ensuring that he comes back every time he hears your voice.
But I'll be able to see my dog?
Yeah, you'll be able to see your dog, and when you speak to your dog, and obviously he'll get excited. He hears your voice. Everybody's experimented with either Skype or putting their spouse on speaker or significant other on speaker and seeing their dog's response. So during that, you can take pictures or short videos for posting on your favorite social site.
What kind of range am I going to see through this? Am I only going to see a foot? Am I going to see the whole room? What am I going to see?
It's similar to a surveillance camera or the web-based IP cameras, where you'll be able to see pretty much the whole room, of course, depending on where you place it and if there's anything blocking that image.
Is there any way for me to rotate it to see different views, to scan the room or anything like that? Or is it pretty set where I set it?
It's stationary. In this initial version, we wanted to keep it very simple and as cheap as possible and really make it about the experience. Of course, version 2.0 means plenty of room for improvement and added features and functionality.
What do you think of this, Alan?
I think this is great for guys who live in the basement as well. If you're a parent and you got, your son's 30, he lives down there, you can call him over, give him a treat, encourage him to look at the want ads. There's a lot of applications to this.
Now, can I watch without my pet knowing?
Sure, as long as you don't speak.
He won't know I'm watching to see what's going on when I'm not there.
He won't know you're watching.
Wow, that's
a Saturday night for you.
Yeah, I like to see what the cats are doing.
We joke about it, but in all seriousness, you had a $30,000 goal on IndieGoGo, and you've raised almost $80,000. So everybody thinks this is a great idea.
Yeah, we've pre-sold in excess of 1,000 units. And we're heading to manufacturing, and we'll begin shipping product in May of this year. And we're excited because it's really about the experience. Ideally, you want the phone and the actual device to be transparent to to that emotional feel-good that's mutual in speaking with your pet and then giving him a treat. That's really what it's about. It's the ability to alleviate that separation anxiety just a bit when you're feeling it most.
See, I just think it would be great to be a fly on the wall to see what happens when I'm not there.
Okay, we heard that already.
Yeah.
It isn't even out. It's not even.
I know.
It's not even until May. So send us one in May, and then we're going to actually test it here in the Animal Radio studio for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
We'll do some research.
Count on it.
Okay.
Wait, before David Clark goes, David Clark, are you going to come back to life? Is that what's going to happen in March on Revenge? Are you coming back to life?
That's my plan, but the other four couldn't make this gig, so.
Hal doesn't know what I'm talking about.
An old music reference there.
Sure, they were the Beatles before the Beatles were the Beatles.
No, you guys are missing you're missing it. There's a television show called Revenge, and the person getting revenge, her father's name that they killed in the show. That's why she wants to get back at everybody. His name is David Clark.
Oh wow! Yeah. I didn't know that.
Alan just got his TV working, and he's a fanatic now. He's watching that thing all the time.
Now that he figured out how to work
that thing.
Yeah.
I'm holding the antenna right now.
Okay, and when it's out, I'm sure you'll be able to pick it up for about $99 a piece. Is that what you're saying?
We actually will be on promotion. The initial MSRP is $169.99. The 99 was the IndieGoGo pre-purchase special.
We look forward to this.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Take care. There he goes. That is David Clark. You know what? I'm sorry.
You're brushing me aside, but that's a very highly rated television show. Just because you don't know who David Clark is, the fictitious character, doesn't mean that the whole world doesn't.
I actually watch no TV. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You don't watch TV?
Very little
what kind
TV.
You call yourself an American? What do you do all day?
No, I actually don't.
What do you do? What do you do all day?
I'm Canadian. Not a lot of people know that. I am Canadian.
Hey?
Are you really? No. So, what do you do all day? I mean, without TV, there's no life.
There really isn't. I'll tell you that.
He's on Facebook.
That's even worse.
That's a waste of time. I don't do that. Did you see that new Facebook calculator that actually tabulates how much time you've wasted your life away on Facebook?
I go on there once a month hoping to read something that, will enlighten me in some way. But all I see is pictures of food, people moaning about nonsense, and then DJs going, "So, the Super Bowl's over. What did you think?
How about the Justin Bieber
Lieber. You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, this is Carrie Ann Inaba from Dance with the Stars. Don't forget to spay and neuter your animals, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
I'm sure you saw this in the paper, Alan, about the herd of dairy cows that nearly lifted the roof off their barn in central Germany.
Yes, the barn almost exploded from their methaneage.
Yes, there's a lot of methane gas.
I love that.
Police say that a static electric charge apparently triggered the detonation. No cows were hurt. One was slightly burnt, but it's going to be okay. No people were hurt either. 90 cows apparently were under this. That's a lot of methane when you think about that. All building up. We should use that methane. Why are we just letting that escape into the air?
You know, there are people that contain that, definitely.
There are?
Yes.
There are people right now busy on ways to harness the cow production of methane and turn it into useful forms of energy that we can use.
I did not know that. You probably heard about this story, Dr. Debbie. The 36-pound cat that showed up was actually turned into a Phoenix area shelter.
Oh, so sad, yes.
Named Meatball. Was turned in because he was too large. They actually couldn't fit him into a kennel, is what the problem was. Is he was too big for a kennel, so he's actually roaming around. They will not be adopting him out. They're going to send him off to a shelter that deals with obese animals or obese cats. 36 pounds.
It's dangerous, you know, for a cat like that. The risk of diabetes is so much higher, and this poor guy, you know, to get that weight off, it's going to be a struggle, and hopefully, you know, his other health issues that might be hiding there won't come up to the surface.
You actually have to try pretty hard to get that big, don't you? I mean, what's the biggest cat you've ever seen down there at your practice?
I would have to say I have not seen a 36-pounder. I would have to say a 30-pounder, But yeah, I mean, it's just, it is so sad because it's usually a kind of an emotional thing. You know, it's usually a family member who really likes feeding kitty, and it becomes kind of almost a human behavioral problem.
Mm-hmm. Aren't they all?
That's Alan. Alan's like, it's always the human.
It is.
I guess if I ate all the comfort food that I wanted, I'd probably look like that too. I want to post this picture up at the website if we can, so people can see that. It is really an amazing,
that's a big
animal. Yeah. You know who we have on the phone? We have Nina Stively. I hope I'm pronouncing her name. Stively. Nina,
yes.
How are you doing, Nina?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. You're a writer?
I am, with Dogtime.
With Dogtime?
Yes.
Oh, I love those guys. We actually partner with Dogtime. No one told me this.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad I got to be the bearer of good news.
I got intrigued by this last article that I saw about kind of a new weird kind of thing going on in videos. You know, when you go onto YouTube, you see the cat videos, you see the doggy photos. I mean, that's really what the internet is for.
Oh, yes, of course.
But there's a new kind of weird trend going on. What is it?
It's videos that people perceive to be adorable of their babies or small children playing with dogs, and it really is just a video of an accident in the making.
Why is that?
You know, I think folks don't realize that as sweet and as friendly as their dogs are, that, you know, babies put them in awkward positions. And as wonderful as a pet can be and as understanding, we as adults and as, you know, caretakers of both babies, human and canine, need to recognize that the dogs are giving us plenty of warnings that they are not comfortable with these situations, and yet we are continuing to video it for sort of this internet fame.
That's what I'm thinking. You're sitting there and you're thinking really about what kind of video you're going to make, not about the safety of your child, but is this going to be a good video?
Right, and I think that's the first thing people do is they upload it to YouTube or whatever their social media site is, and are really excited that so many people are going to be, seeing this adorable video that they're not seeing what is really right in front of them and is an accident waiting to happen.
Well, what are some of the signs? I know people say, but their tail is wagging, so...
Yes, well, a wagging tail is not always an indication of a happy animal. I think, you really just need to use common sense. Think about it this way. If you're out on the street and you saw a stray dog, any dog walking around, would you do the things to this stray dog that you're letting your child do to your own dog?
No.
If the answer is no, then you shouldn't be letting your child do it to your own dog. Because young children and babies and most adults really don't recognize what the warnings are. So, a wagging tail can be either very good or very bad. When a dog has a real wide eye, that's sort of a sign of bewilderment, of stress. Licking their lips, panting, pulling away. There's a pretty popular video right now called Battle of the Cookie, where a baby is taking a cookie away from a pug over and over, and the pug is growling. He's showing his teeth. He is just giving every warning in the book, and yet, the parents just keep on laughing because they think it's funny.
So what about yawning? I've heard people say, well, the dog was yawning, so that means they were calm and relaxed.
No, yawning and panting, I think people both think, oh, look, he's smiling, his mouth is wide open. Those are often two indications of stress. So you'll see that, that real wide mouth panting, that's not a smile. That's often an indication of stress. And the same thing with a yawn. It's called a displaced yawn. And it's generally when a dog indicates, oh, I'm not really comfortable with the situation, or I don't know what's going on. Help me out here. I mean, even, we get Super Bowl commercials where you have a child riding on a dog, and as adorable as that might be for a family photo, and a child is raised, riding around on the family's, lab or mastiff or whatever, you're raising that kid to think that these sort of behaviors are okay and they're safe. They may have been safe that one time or in that one circumstance, but it can become unsafe very quickly.
Or with that dog, kids don't understand. They see a friend's dog and they think they can do the same thing.
For sure.
Babies don't understand that.
Well, and the majority of bites that occur are actually by dogs that children know. They're by grandma's dog or by auntie's dog or even by their own dog. And that's 2 million children are bitten seriously enough to go to the hospital every year in this country.
Well, keep those eyes out for those warning signs. And we're actually, let's put the warning signs up at the website, because there are a lot of them. There are lip curls, hackles, growls, maybe showing the teeth a little bit. These are signs that...
Yawning, tail wagging, that you wouldn't
that
think.
You just mentioned. There you go. Went by pretty fast again. Hey, thanks for joining us. Remember to download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. You can listen all week long, as well as ask your questions of the Dream Team. We'll catch you next week for more Animal Radio right here on this fine station.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Eat a turnip.
This is Animal Radio
Network.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.